So, about your loan application. Yes, how did it go? I don't mind if it's not for the full amount. As I visited the bank to hear the loan decision, the loan officer, Mr. Smith, gaped at my reaction. Come on now, did you really think there was a chance for approval? Smith shredded the business plan right in front of me. There's way we would lend money to a poor farm, stop your futile efforts and head back home. Understood, I'm leaving. I went to see an acquaintance to grumble about the unexpected turn of events. Back at the parking lot, I opened the door of my pickup truck. That was quick, so were you able to borrow the full amount? My passenger, Mr. Brown, greeted me with a relaxed expression. I was about to complain, but my words were drowned out by a shout. Mr. Williams, please wait a moment. An elderly man with a pale face hurried towards us. In his panic, he struggled to speak clearly, so I explained the situation to Mr. Brown. Brown, the loan application was not approved. Although my application had been rejected, all the players were in place. I thought I would receive an apology for the previous attitude immediately. But instead, I faced an unexpected counterattack from Mr. Smith. My name is Williams. Until recently, I worked at a well-known company in the state, but I decided to resign to take up farming. It wasn't because I was tired of working as an employee or because I longed for a self-sufficient lifestyle. When I was in second grade, my parents got divorced. I was taken in by my mother, and we moved in with her parents. However, my mother disappeared within a few months with a new boyfriend. After that, my grandparents took over as my guardians. There were many hardships, but the hardest was the cruel words of the neighbors. Some even said directly to my grandparents, "It's tough having such a worthless daughter, and I couldn't bear to see their sad faces each time. To change the situation, I needed to become such an outstanding person that no strange rumors could touch me. With this in mind, I enrolled in a top university in the city and later returned to my hometown to join a well-known local company. As expected, people turned their opinions around, praising me, "You have a wonderful grandson." When I was 42, I lost my grandfather and the following year, my grandmother went too. This led me to resign from my job to start serious vegetable farming using their fields. Once again, the rumors started, "He left such a good company to start farming, there must be something going on." Of course, I hadn't done anything wrong at my job. I worked at Brown Holdings, the parent company of a corporate group. There, I had an opportunity to work for about 2 years at a subsidiary. The subsidiary operated a Japanese cuisine chain, providing dishes with a strong commitment to seasonality and origin, despite being a chain. This dedication to their craft was eye-opening. I realized anew how different varieties of a single vegetable can significantly change its ease of cooking and suitability for dishes. With grandparents who grew vegetables, I naturally became interested in agriculture while working at the subsidiary. When they passed away, I decided it was natural to start farming on their remaining land. "Hello, I am here today for your kind cooperation," I said nervously in front of a loan officer at a local bank. Originally, my grandparents were vegetable wholesalers. But due to old age, they had only been gardening as a hobby for nearly 20 years before they passed away. All the farming machinery had been disposed of. Needing significant funds to purchase new machinery and realize the agriculture I envisioned, I had no choice but to rely on the bank. "Please, don't be so nervous," the loan officer said. Mr. Smith, who appeared as the loan officer, was sporting a seemingly kind smile. "Thank you, I had the impression that loan officers were usually strict, so I'm relieved to see someone who seems kind. I'm glad my acquaintance recommended this place to me." Relieved, I blurted that out, and Smith burst out laughing. His laugh made me feel uneasy. It felt as if he was looking down on me. I tried to shake off any rude thoughts and showed him the business plan. "So, this is the plan, is this the right way to write it?" "Yes, that's fine." "Good, then, let me explain it to you." Just as I was about to start discussing the business purpose, Smith interrupted me. "There's no need for you to explain." "Oh, do you mean you'll look at the documents and we'll discuss this another day?" "No, I think it's best not to waste each other's time on unnecessary things. It seems it wasn't just my imagination that I felt looked down upon earlier." Smith pointed outside the window. I noticed you getting out of your pickup truck earlier, Smith said with a laugh. I thought maybe I could lend you around $10,000, but how much are you actually looking to borrow? I replied in a soft voice, it's $100,000. Coming to the bank in a pickup, dressed in a shirt and sweatpants that look like loungewear. If you were in my position, would you lend $100,000? Of course not, right? The business plan I had spent hours on was dismissively thrown back at me. Thank you for today, he said with a sneer. I was abruptly cut off and felt Smith's gaze as I returned to my pickup truck. As soon as I got home, I contacted the acquaintance who had recommended that bank. Reluctant to explain everything in detail, I simply told him that it seemed unlikely I would get the loan. Though I thought there might have been some misunderstanding. When I mentioned Smith's name, my friend insisted that he should have definitely been a reliable referral. I even began to wonder if I had explained myself poorly, and the next day, I found myself back at the bank. I'm very sorry to come back so soon, could you please reconsider? This time, the business plan was accepted without hesitation. Understood, we will keep this on file. Maybe the initial meeting was a test to see if I was really worthy of a $100,000 loan. Thank you so much, Holmesley, I really appreciate your consideration. Without the loan, my plans would take an unimaginably long time to realize. Feeling hopeful and quite different from yesterday, I returned home in high spirits. A week later, Smith called me in to talk. So about the results of your loan application. Yes, how did it go? I don't mind if it's not the full amount. Smith just gaped. Whoa now, did you really think there was a chance? Even $10,000 is out of the question. Although I was confused and bewildered by his response, Smith continued. I don't want you coming to the bank every day, I just reviewed it once to convince you. That's terrible, I've been hopeful all this week, if there was no chance, you should have made it clear. I did make it clear once that I wouldn't lend you the money, it's worse that you didn't listen and came back to the bank. His behavior was unbecoming of a banker, but Smith was right, so I couldn't argue any further. I'll let you in on a secret, I'm the son of the bank president, I'll probably take over this bank someday. Standing up, Smith shredded my business plan right in front of me. Lending money to someone who clearly couldn't repay would tarnish my future plans, you're in the way, could you leave now? I was about to contact the acquaintance who recommended this bank on my smartphone. But Smith lowered his voice as if to reprimand me. Didn't you hear me? There's no way we're lending money to a poor farm, stop struggling and just go home. I gave up on making the call and stood up. Understood, I'm going home. Today's response confirmed it, Smith wasn't listening at all. I headed to my acquaintance's place to complain about how things went differently than expected. Returning to the parking lot, I opened the door of my pickup truck. That was quick, so, did you manage to borrow the full amount? Brown, sitting in the passenger seat, greeted me with an easy expression. I was about to give him a piece of my mind, but my words were drowned out by a shout. Mr. Williams, please, wait a moment. An elderly man with a pale face came running towards us. Wow, it's been a while, here comes Smith. Brown called the man Smith, but he was a different person from the loan officer I met earlier. Given they share the same last name, this man must be the bank president. It's been a while, Mr. Brown. What's the rush, did you forget to give us a copy of the contract? Mr. Brown had no inkling that the loan had been cancelled. His carefree tone only seemed to worsen the bank president's complexion. Well, about that. I'll explain on his behalf, Mr. Brown, the loan application was not approved. It must have been quite a shock. Mr. Brown almost slid out of the passenger seat. Come on, that can't be true, so, you mean we didn't get the full amount? Actually, no amount, they told me $0. Realizing I wasn't joking, Mr. Brown's demeanor changed. The president shrank back miserably. Ultimately, this is due to my lack of supervision. He began explaining the situation when, good timing or bad, the loan officer I had dealt with appeared. Dad, are you alright? Of course I'm not okay. Just as I thought. You were taking a while to come back, I figured something was up. It must have been those guys causing trouble, right? I'll chase them off, just stay back. Smith's words only fueled the fire, and his father, the president, buried his head in his hands. You didn't listen at all to who these two people are right in front of you. Smith looked at me and Brown with a reluctant glance. I see, you didn't know the situation, so you rejected William's application. I should have been more attentive. I had told him through my secretary that a client recommended by Mr. Brown was coming. The president, who had assumed the review would pass, had come to the branch to greet me. But the moment my name was mentioned, the branch managers acted strangely. Smith, uninformed, had reported that the application was rejected. While he was trying to make excuses and was flustered, I had arrived at the bank, and he had hurried after me. I heard from the secretary. You were playing games on your phone while listening to him. It's bad enough playing games during business hours, but not listening to an important discussion is outrageous. But, he always nags me. I remember him saying there was something important, but I thought it was just his usual nagging. It's your fault for acting in a way that makes him want to nag you. The president let out a deep sigh. It's too late now, but this is Mr. Brown, he is the president of Brown Holdings. At the mention of the company name, Smith froze. Understandably so, as not only is it a well-known company, but it's also an important client for their bank. It seemed he finally realized the gravity of what he had done. Williams used to work at Brown Holdings and was on good terms with the president. He's a very capable person. And I was told that his business would surely succeed and that we should positively consider his loan request. What have you done? Watching Smith in a state of shock, I started to calm down. Honestly, I felt a bit guilty about using Brown's influence to secure the loan. I came here because I had no other choice, but I was also at fault. I thought I could forget his rude behavior if Smith apologized. Our company has grown significantly. I'm considering making a megabank our main bank. It seemed like Brown was guiding Smith to make it easier for him to apologize. Glancing around nervously. No, if we lose your company's business, it would be a huge loss for us, please forgive us. The president reflexively tried to kneel, but Smith stopped him, calling it undignified. Dad, think about it. A megabank, right, no matter how big the company is, it only dominates locally. Plus, they just took out a loan for a new venture from us. They can't simply refinance that amount. It's not realistic to stop doing business with our bank. Brown and I exchanged glances, not expecting Smith's defiant response. Too bad for you, your business plan will never come to fruition. What followed was chaotic. The argument between the president and Smith heated up, drawing the attention of passers-by, and soon a crowd gathered in front of the bank. We couldn't even get to our pickup truck before someone called the police. And both Brown and I were questioned. After the questioning, we had no choice but to give up and go home. For the next year, just as Smith had said, Brown could not sever ties with the bank. As the year was about to end, Brown and I visited the bank again. We requested to speak with Smith, who still worked at a branch rather than the main office. Well, it's been a while, good to see you looking well. Smith probably thought we came to discuss another loan. He showed no remorse, addressing us with a smug attitude. Did you think after a year things would cool down and I'd approve your loan? Unfortunately, I'm still a banker. I'll assess your application calmly and fairly. You judged people just by their appearance without listening to them, and yet you dared to talk about fairness. I wanted to object, but I remembered the purpose of today and held back. Today, we just came to say hello. Hello, what's up? Planning to run away at night after borrowing from somewhere you shouldn't? I handed Smith a business card. I've finally finished all the preparations. My company has become a subsidiary of Brown Holdings. And my business plan was recognized, enabling me to secure a loan from a megabank. What do you mean? Smith asked, unwilling to accept the reality. I explained again, politely. It means that the business dealings between your bank and Brown Holdings are ending. If you think I'm lying, ask him, he's our new contact. Smith, who had been so sure we couldn't cut ties, perhaps realized his mistake and, like the president once did, knelt on the ground. Today, there was no one to stop him, so he bowed deeply. I'm so sorry, if we lose your company's business, our bank will suffer. He suffered last year when he couldn't get a loan because of you. You delayed his business for a year, can you give him back that time? I can't exactly return time, but I can increase the loan amount to compensate. If you had apologized like this last year, things wouldn't have gotten this far. Time cannot be converted into money, the most capable people know that. Mr. Brown squatted down to look Smith directly in the eyes. Do you know why you are still at this branch? Your father is letting you train here to become a respectable banker. Essentially, he doesn't think you're fit to be the president unless you improve. I pressed further as Smith seemed to despair. Your brother is quite capable, right? I heard from Brown that Smith's brother was also working at another branch of the bank. Not only is his brother excelling in sales, but he is also well liked by his colleagues. The president has been considering calling him to the main office, but he hesitated to do so over his eldest son. Today's events will likely be the final blow, sealing Smith's fate away from becoming president. If you don't make it as president, come join us, we're hiring a lot of part-timers. Smith just stared at the floor in frustration. Relieved that I could now focus on my business, the relief was short-lived as an unexpected situation arose. My business plan involved receiving commissions from restaurants to deliver vegetables tailored to their needs. To realize this plan, a large-scale farm was necessary. Due to aging, the region has many fields that are either neglected or used only as hobbies. I wanted the loan not only to buy farming equipment but also to purchase these underused fields. Of course, $100,000 wasn't enough. But with the backing of Brown Holdings, I was able to borrow more than expected from a megabank. Everyone was happy to sell their unused land, and quickly, I achieved the desired acreage. As a result, families who sold their fields were able to pay off their car loans and remaining mortgages. The income from interest significantly decreased. The bank's loss wasn't just about losing business with Brown Holdings. Due to these blunders, Smith was not only barred from heading to the main office but was expelled from the bank entirely. His younger brother was supposed to be summoned to the main office immediately after he left. But he declined, saying he couldn't return until he had recovered the lost business caused by his brother. He's now working hard, reaching out to various companies and individuals. The bank's president managed to keep his position with a pay cut due to it being a family business. But it seems likely his younger son will soon take over. I had heard about Smith's subsequent situation through Brown, but with my busy schedule, I soon forgot about it. Hey, I told you we're hiring part-timers, didn't I? Months later, a much thinner Smith showed up at our farm with a resume, and I was quite surprised. Perhaps because of his defiant attitude, he didn't pass even the part-time job interview. I might have considered hiring him if he had shown a more humble attitude. But for the sake of the other employees, I couldn't employ Smith without seeing any signs of repentance from him. I can't hire you as you are now, why don't you take a leaf out of your brother's book? With those hard-to-hear words, he left the farm. No one knows what happened to him after that. Now that my business is successfully on track, I often think it was a good decision to target restaurants rather than individual consumers. Even if the vegetables are a bit misshapen. As long as the size doesn't drastically alter the taste, they can still be used in cooking and are therefore purchased. Considering my experience at the bank and how I've always been judged superficially since childhood, there's nothing more gratifying than being valued for what I produce rather than how it looks. I came to see how you were doing, but I see it wasn't necessary. Brown said, smiling contentedly at my expression. I'm glad this job worked out, thank you so much for your help. The pleasure is mine. Thanks to you, our business is booming, and every time we're featured on TV, our corporate reputation grows. I was desperate to retain you when you said you were leaving, but it turned out great that we could work together. Looking back, Brown had valued me since I was a clueless newcomer. I want to be like you someday. Don't flatter me, I can't take you out for drinks today, I have plans. I aspire to remain someone who makes fair judgments, not swayed by appearances or rumors.